Hey yogis, this is going to be a yin style yoga class targeting the hamstrings, hips, and groin area. You may want to have a blanket and a couple of blocks nearby, but other than that, you shouldn't need anything else to get started. So let's go ahead and get into our first posture. This one is fairly familiar. It's called child's pose. So make your way down to the back of your mat and take your knees out as wide as you'd like. Extend your arms out in front of you, lower your forehead to the mat. And let's take a big breath in. Exhale, let it go. Take a few breaths to settle in into the body here. And if you are newer to yin yoga, we usually hold these poses quite passively, so trying not to use any muscular effort. And we usually hold them for a longer period of time than what you might be used to in a more yang style practice. So it could be anywhere between 2 to 6 minutes for each pose. And because this is a little bit more of an introspective practice, we generally hold these poses in a good amount of silence. So take this time to become acquainted with all of the subtle sensations happening inside, noticing what thoughts come up, and just allowing yourself to be here in this shape. In many ways, yin is the practice of accepting and allowing. Very slowly begin to walk your hands back up, bringing your spine and back upright. And we'll make our way into a seat, coming into half butterfly. From here, extend your right leg out in front of you. Take the sole of your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. Open your left knee out as wide as you can. And we're going to fold over the front leg. You may want to come down onto a pair of blocks at any height, resting your forearms, or you can even rest your forehead on a block here. If this feels too intense, you can also walk your hands towards the middle, in between your legs, and just fold over here. So once you've found your shape and the appropriate support, allow your back to round. Relax your shoulders. Relax your face. Come back to a smooth breath in and out of your nose. And very gently begin to walk your hands back up, removing your blocks off to the side. And before we move into the other side, it might feel good to take your arms behind you, bend both knees, come onto the soles of your feet, and just windshield wiper your legs from side to side, just getting a little bit of movement. Whenever you're ready, we'll move over to the other side. Extend your left leg in front of you. Take your right knee out wide. Sole of your left foot to the inside of your left thigh. And then once again, option to fold over your front leg with the support of your blocks, either underneath your forearms or your forehead, Or if that feels too intense, just walk your hands in between your legs, a little bit more towards your center. And then once you've found your variation, allow your back to be rounded. And just check in with the level of intensity that you feel. So in general, in yin, we're trying to find something around a 4 or 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. So 1 being no sensation and 10 being pain. We want to find our edge somewhere around a 4 or a 5. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. And take one more breath here. And then very gently lift yourself back up. Remove your blocks off to the side. And once again, it might feel good here just to bend both knees, coming onto the soles of your feet, taking your feet out wide, hands behind you, and just windshield wiper your legs from side to side. And whenever you're ready, we're going to make our way into a straddle pose. So take your feet out as wide as you'd like, keeping your toes and your kneecaps pointing upward as much as possible. We're going to fold forward here as well, so you may want to use your blocks once again, same as before, coming down onto your forearms or resting your forehead on top of a block. So just go ahead and find whichever variation works for you. Let your back round. Relax your shoulders. Come back to your breath in and out of your nose. Let go of any unnecessary tension. Very slowly begin to walk your hands back up. Bring your spine to a neutral position. Bring your hands underneath your knees. And then just as we did before, it might feel good here to windshield wiper your legs from side to side. And whenever you're ready, we'll move into a tabletop position. And we'll be on our knees for a little while, so it might feel nice here to just place a blanket underneath your knees or double up your mat. So from here, step your right leg in between your hands, coming into what you know of as a crescent lunge from your yang practice. In the yin practice, we have slightly different names for these poses, so this one is actually called dragon. And then you're going to send your hips forward and down. And just make sure your right knee is stacked above your ankle. And you can take your hands to a pair of blocks, either at the middle height or the lower height, or you might find that you prefer the higher height. So just go ahead and find whichever version works for you. And then draw your shoulders down away from your ears. And for this pose, we do need a little bit of arm strength, but we're trying to use as little muscular effort as possible. And this is definitely one of the more intense poses we have in the yin practice. So if at any point you need to come out of it, just make your way out, rest for a moment, and then over time, you will be able to build up towards longer holds here. Notice if your mind is beginning to take you out of the pose and out of this moment. And just bring your awareness back to your breath, breathing into it in and out of your nose. And very slowly press down into the blocks. Begin to send your hips back, straightening your front leg. Before we move into the other side, we're going to take a hamstring stretch on this side. So you might stay here with your blocks framing your front foot, and then maybe just send that foot a little bit more forward, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Or you can come into a seat on top of your left heel, and then from here, fold forward. You can remove your blocks, or you might use a block underneath your forehead. Let your arms rest by your side, relaxing your shoulders, breathing in and out of your nose. If you're on top of your heel, slowly walk your hands back up. Bring your spine back to a neutral position. Remove your props if you're using any. And then come back forward. If you have your hands on a pair of blocks, you can remove those off to the side. Step your right leg back underneath your hips, coming back into your tabletop position. It might feel good just to find some small movements here. And then step your left leg forward in between your hands, coming into your dragon pose, sending your hips forward and down. And once again, you might want to come onto a pair of blocks at any height. Make sure your left knee is stacked above your ankle. Relax your shoulders. Come back to your breath. Notice if you're beginning to tense up anywhere, and see if you can soften a little bit more. Just allow gravity to do the work here for you. Very slowly press into the blocks. Begin to send your hips back, straightening your front leg. Coming onto your left heel, maybe you walk your blocks back a little bit more. You can walk the left foot forward a little bit. And then option to also come back into a seat on top of your heel, allowing your back to round. And once again, maybe you support your head with the block. Relaxing your shoulders, breathing in and out of your nose. If you're sitting on top of your heel, very slowly make your way back into an upright position. Take your block off to the side if you're using one. Lift yourself up and forward, coming back into your tabletop position. And if you're in the half monkey pose with your hands on top of your blocks, go ahead and remove those blocks now. Bring a bend back into your front knee, and then make your way back into your tabletop position. And if you're using a blanket to support your knees, you can take that off to your side. And come down to a child's pose just for a moment. And slowly walk your hands back up. We'll come onto our backs for this next pose. Extend your legs out in front of you. You can keep your knees bent as you roll down vertebrae by vertebrae. And then draw your knees into your chest, giving them a little squeeze. We're going to move into happy baby. Take your knees out as wide as you'd like, and this might be exactly where you'd like to stay. Or you can take your arms in between your legs and grab onto your ankles or the outer edges of your feet, or with your peace fingers grab onto your big toes, and then take your feet out wide as well. Try to keep your tailbone on the mat. So if your tailbone is lifting, you might want to grab on a little bit lower, maybe even closer towards the knees. And then press your feet down towards your armpits. Gently draw your knees back into your chest. Give them another little squeeze. Take a breath or two. And we'll make our way into our final resting pose, Shavasana. Extend your legs out in front of you. You may want to support your knees with some pillows or a blanket. And take your arms by your side, palms pointing up. Let yourself melt into the floor, surrendering to this final resting position. Allowing your body to integrate this practice. Feel free to stay here for as long as you'd like. If you're ready to finish this practice, just begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe stretch your arms up overhead. And when you're ready, curl onto your favorite side into a fetal position. and then make your way up into a seat. Bringing your hands together in front of your heart. And we'll close this practice with a deep breath together. Inhale. Exhale it out. Bring your hands to your third eye center, bringing gratitude to this practice and for taking this time to honor your body. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this class. If you'd like to keep practicing with me, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. This will help me to keep putting out new videos for you to enjoy. And also, please feel free to leave a comment below letting me know how you liked this class, or if you have any questions, or what other kinds of classes you might be looking for. So thanks again, and have a wonderful day.